Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video we will look at leaf adaptations, the photosynthetic reaction and leaf structure. Photosynthesis is a chemical reaction that takes place inside of a plant, producing the food, the glucose that the plant needs to survive. Carbon dioxide, water and light are needed for photosynthesis to take place. So some key things that we need to consider are the physical adaptations of the leaf, what the reaction actually involves, and finally the structure of the leaf and how it's adapted to go and increase the amount of photosynthesis that takes place. So as previously stated, photosynthesis is the reaction that takes place in leaves that produces glucose and oxygen. The reaction for it is carbon dioxide plus water will go and form glucose plus oxygen. If you're taking the high paper, it's really important that you know the chemical formula for it, which is 6 carbon dioxide plus 6 water will go and form a glucose, which is C6H12O6, and finally 6 O2, which is our oxygen. Some general leaf adaptations include a large surface area to absorb light. The plant has lots of leaves to increase this surface area. They're thin, so gases don't have far to diffuse. They contain lots of chlorophyll. They have a network of veins to transport water up to the leaves and the sugars and the glucose away from the leaves. And they have stomata, which allow the gases, so carbon dioxide and oxygen, to diffuse in and out. So, if we think about how we could use this information to complete the following sentences. So, energy is needed, or the energy needed for this process is trapped for the plant by some of the food made by plants is stored as insoluble, and green plants make their own food during the process of photosynthesis. So the first answer would be chlorophyll, the second answer would be starch, and the third answer is photosynthesis. So if we think, how do the two raw materials photosynthesis get into the plant? Well, the photosynthesis needs carbon dioxide, so that diffuses in from the air, and it needs water, so the water is taken up from the soil by the roots by the process of osmosis, and finally it gets to the leaves through transpiration. If we go and look at the structure of the leaf, so the leaf is a structure made up of the layers of different cells. So at the top we have a waxy cuticle, so this is see-through, so it allows light to pass through, but it stops water, so excess water, waterlogging the leaf. We've got the palisade layer, so palisade cells have lots of chloroplasts, it's a layer near the top where you get the most light, so it can carry out the maximum amount of photosynthesis. The spongy mesophyll layer, so spongy mesophyll cells are rounded, so that creates large gaps and air spaces in them. That allows for gaseous exchange, so exchange and diffusion of carbon dioxide and oxygen to take place. You've got guard cells. Guard cells open and close the stomata, so help control the rate of transpiration. The air spaces enable carbon dioxide to diffuse into the palisade cells and oxygen to diffuse out. You've got lots of phloem, so the phloem carry away the glucose made during photosynthesis. And finally the xylem. The xylem carry water to the leaf that is required by photosynthesis. So we have a look at this question. So plants have leaves which contain guard cells and palisade cells. explain how each of these kinds of cells assist photosynthesis. So if you want to have a quick think about that. So guard cells, they're opening and closing are controlled by osmosis. They control the movement of gases through the stomata. And palisade cells are found near the upper surface, so they contain lots of chloroplasts and therefore contain the most amount of chlorophyll, which carries out photosynthesis. So the diagram below shows the outline of cross-section of a leaf. So name cells 1 and 2 and describe how they are involved in photosynthesis. So cells 1, with palisade cells, lots of chloroplasts, and they're the main site of photosynthesis. Number 2 are guard cells. They are on the either side of the stomata and they control the amount of carbon dioxide entering and leaving the leaf, and they also control the size of the pores, which has an effect on transpiration. If we consider all things about what's happening in the leaf, we need to think about diffusion. So diffusion occurs when the concentration of a particular molecule is greater in one area than another, so establishing a concentration gradient. So during diffusion, molecules will move from a high to a lower concentration. The diffusion of molecules across or down the concentration gradient does not require any proteins and is a passive process. So if we looked at gases diffused between the leaf and the surrounding air, what is diffusion? So diffusion is the movement or the spreading of particles from an area of high to low concentration. Thanks for watching.